All right, welcome to another episode of Big Brain MMA Podcast, episode 10. Got old mate ScrapCapper back again after that amazing podcast of all accurate picks. Those were breakdowns, but yeah, our bets were a bit how you going. Obviously, my hot take on Emma hit. That's all that matters.
Yeah. No, good shout there. Was not a good card for me, as we were just discussing, but yeah, back. Hopefully get back on track this week.
Yeah, shit happens, man. Sometimes you can have amazing breakdowns and no bets, just have to pass. You can see exactly how the fight's going, but there's nothing you can play there. So we'll get straight into it, man. I've got about 70% of charge. So first fight, Frey versus Damopolous. I mean, I just taped this today. I guess you can break it down to a very simple, Frey by decision, Damopolous by sub. That's been pretty accurate recently. Damopolous, the most durable lady. She's so hittable. She's so crap. Her takedowns and entries are horrendous, but I mean, her chin is insane. She's just eating bombs. That bomb that she ate from that Juarez chick, I mean, that we've seen what Juarez can do to someone like Liang that actually doesn't have the same kind of chin, and that shot wasn't even half as hard as what Damopolous ate. Yeah, I just see, Frey being low output, looking to hit her with a 1-2, with a calf kick, circling away, barely any volume. Damopolous is going to be aggressive. She's always very aggressive. I can't get that knockout she got on Fight Pass out of my head, where she just blitzed that chick and just knocked her out in 40 seconds. I'm like, oh, it's going to happen again. I can feel it. This girl can crack. I don't think it's going to be here, but, it probably should be a pass because she's aggressive enough to keep this close. But we've seen a couple of really bad girls with bad wrestling go up against Frey, and she seemed to, shut down someone like Yoda. Even though she was, when Yoda started throwing, she hit her with like 4 left hands in a row. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, what are you doing, man? She's just throwing the same punch over and over again. So I don't know. It's just neither of these girls is trustworthy. I know if I played Damopolous by sub, she's just gonna get. It won't even end up on the ground for 3 rounds. So I think Frey actually has quite good takedown defense. She stuffed all of Yoda's over 3 rounds, and she even took someone like the Polar down. Took her back. The Polar's got a dangerous guard. We've seen it on the regionals. Yeah, just passed the guard instantly, got her back. So I think, Frey's plus money decision. It's just if you want to force shit, but yeah, probably shouldn't. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd agree with pretty much everything you said. Frey's definitely like the better fighter skill-wise, but she's just super passive, no urgency, doesn't like to engage too much, and really struggles to like put stamps on rounds. Damopolous is like the exact opposite. Skill-wise, she's pretty awful everywhere except her jiu-jitsu. But she's just like rabies aggressive and will just keep charging at you, trying to make shit happen. So it could actually make for like a pretty interesting dynamic, because Damopolous will probably be the one coming forward trying to force the action, and Frey will probably land on her because she's so hittable, but I don't think that's gonna discourage Damopolous. She'll just keep trying to force car crashes, and if it ends up on the mat, she could find something because she's got a pretty creative submission game, and I think Frey's like a little bit flaky on the mat, to be honest. Yeah, so I think moneyline wise, clear dog or pass. I haven't played Damopolous moneyline, but I took her no scorecards at plus 190, because I think if someone does finish, I think that should be minus money for Damopolous. I'm not sure what a Frey finish looks like unless she just lands like an absolute peach of a left hand down the middle or something and sleeps her. But Damopolous has got a crazy chin. Frey's not a hitter, former atom weight. So yeah, I thought that was fairly off. But yeah, Damopolous getting the fight to the ground is probably going to be a bit of trouble, because yeah, Frey's takedown defense is decent. Damopoulos's takedowns are horrific, but it's women's MMA, so I think there's a pretty good chance that somehow it just ends up on the mat, so that's the only action I've got on it. So yeah, I think like the Damopolous no scorecards inside the distance sublines are probably the way to play it, if anything.
Yeah, I thought about that. I like that play. Most likely you get your money back, but yeah, that's all right. A plus money, that's a decent play. I don't see a best case to see Frey dropping her and then just letting her back up if she's smart. So I don't see a finish there. All right, Batista, Kelleher, I didn't actually get a chance to tape this fight. It's one of the couple that I missed out on, just because a bit burnt out from last week. Do you have a read on this or a play?
Yeah, pretty interesting fight. Moneyline wise, I thought it was about right, and Batista's just kind of had a little bit of money come in on him. Now I would lean towards Kelleher being the side at like on Bet Online he's plus 144. Not huge value or anything, but I would lean towards him. Pretty interesting fight. I think they're pretty like well matched on the feet. Both competent, both durable, despite Bautista catching that KO from Trevin Jones. I think it'll largely be Kelleher trying to box, Bautista trying to keep it at a longer range with the kicks and the knees. I don't expect either guy to have too much grappling success, but the major factor is probably just going to be like the length of Bautista. Kelleher's going to be the one having to like try and close the distance to land strikes, and then also Kelleher does tend to fade sometimes, especially at 135. He's been taking fights at featherweight. He's been pretty vocal about how he, the cut down to bantamweight affects him, and Bautista's got cardio for days, but the play that interests me here is the over. I'm not sure why it's only minus 135, to be honest. Seems pretty generous to me. Kelleher goes out there and finishes like low-level guys. Bautista didn't even finish Jay Perrin, which I thought was like a pretty bad look. He was just there to be finished. I thought he could have put him away at any point if he really wanted to. I played the over at minus 120, minus 135 now on Bet Online. I still think that's good. I would say this fight goes to a decision like 60 to 65% of the time. Kelleher's opportunistic, but I think he'll struggle to land hands on Bautista. Bautista's a solid submission grappler, so I don't see him getting caught with the guillotine. And then Bautista could catch Kelleher with like a knee or a high kick or something. He's showing good. It was Miles Johns he got that good KO on. I think it takes really something super opportunistic from either guy to find a finish. I don't see too many like process-driven finishes like playing out at a, almost 50% clip, which is what the line implies. So yeah, I think the over is the side here. If I have to make a pick, I think it's going to decision more often than not, and I'll probably edge Bautista to take it just with the striking diversity and the cardio edges.
Yeah, I've heard that take. Definitely not for me. I'm not, especially after last week, I'm not hitting overs on a fight where where both guys are kind of heavy-handed and one guy just spams guillotines, and Batista's been called before by a mean master, Trevin Jones, and he loves to stand in there and brawl even though he doesn't have to, and Kelleher's going to invite the brawl, and Kelleher can fall apart as well at some points, even though he's a durable veteran. Yeah, I can see it's actually not bad odds. Like I said, maybe, who knows, maybe I'm on your side after I tape it. I'll tape it after this if my laptop doesn't completely die and doesn't recover, because I've had this problem before. But I'll have to look into it. But if you think that Bautista just avoids everything, then he's probably the side. I think he cruises here. I think Kelleher has been a bit overrated with the fact that he's just been bottom of the barrel guys in the UFC. Whenever he gets a step up, he kind of gets run through. He's really set in going for his guillotines. Otherwise, just falls apart. But yeah, I'll see if I'll look into that over, see if I'm on your page. But something tells me that I won't be. As soon as I see that flying knee and the brawls that he's in, and that knockout by Trevin Jones, I'll be like, yeah, let's just leave it. Let's pass. All right, I've got to take here. Durden versus JP buys. I've got some. It's a bit of a flake fest, this one. Like who's the bigger flake and the gassy person? I think they got pretty good similarities. Like both of these guys. Oh, sick! Check out these fucking ads. Both come out pretty strong. They won first round fighters. Like JP buys has a lot of KOs, round one guillotines. Like he sells out for them. I remember I had a Montel Jackson in the double, and I was sweating bullets when he had him in the rear naked choke and then the guillotine. But Montel is known for he seems to love giving his neck and then showing the world that he can tough out of it.
Montel's an idiot, man. That guy is so stupid, like so physically gifted, but just he's so good, man. He's got so many advantages. But anyway, yeah, and then
And that was up a weight class. And the most impressive thing about that is the fact that JP got him down. All right, that was a good take. Like, he was so undersized. And Montel, I mean, yes, I know John's wrestled him, but Montel is a strong man. Like, he's got that wrestling background, the Olympic hopeful crap that commentators always bang on about. And the fact that he muscled them down with a body lock. And I think JP is the more physical, athletic, better wrestler, more finishing upside early. But obviously, Durden has all finishes in round one in his regionals as well. And he did get Gutierrez's back in the first. But other than that, he hasn't really shown any of that finishing upside against anyone in the UFC. I thought he might run through Jimmy Flick, who seems kind of flaky as well. I mean, he got his back, picked him up, slammed him, ended up in mount. Got his back, flattened him out, and started pounding on him. And Flick still got out of it, and did a flying triangle 30 seconds later. So I think he's a bit overrated, Durden. He seems to be very susceptible to submissions. Gets hurt and just puts his head in it. Like, who else gets flying triangle in the UFC, man? Come on. I think JP is very alive to just get his round one blitz. Where he takes him down, slams him, jumps on the guillotine. He did it at JP against Silver as well, which obviously wasn't a proper stoppage, but you just look, every single fight he's just going for it. He's a big front runner, and if he doesn't get it, then hey, I've got plenty of time to hedge out, lie bet Durden. Durden is a bit more of a dog. JP seems more of someone that can't take a punch, doesn't like adversity, front runner, whereas Durden is just horrendous gas tank, but he's shown more grit and to push through, like in rounds 2 and 3, beating Aori. I thought Aori won that, but he still got it out of round 3 somehow, completely gassed, and he did something against Gutierrez. He was done, but he didn't fall apart. He still kept throwing and diving on ankles in round 3, so he's got no quit in him. Whereas JP, I think, is got a bit more quit. Every time he's finished, he just gives up. He's had enough in there, and I hate how he so many fights he just ends up on his back from a kick. Like in the regionals against Bruno Silva, I hit Silva as a massive dog there, and he just falls over. Like, he throws a knee, falls over, and I'm like, what's wrong with this guy's feet? Like, it's like he's got ice on the bottom of his soles.
His legs are too short to kick.
I don't know. I saw it in that Brave fight as well. It's just like, what are you doing, man? Like, you got to go do what Lorenz Larkin did and remove the dead skin off your feet to stop you from sleeping in the octagon. And it's just like little flaky tendencies like that. But I think he's just going to be two guys locking horns in round 1. Who's going to have the better round 1? I think JP will. Just more dangerous with his subs. Cody might have some good wrestling positions, but he's going to get reversed, in my opinion. And then from then on, plus JP is 26 years old, a lot more room for improvement. So yeah, I got a bit of money on him at pick him dog odds, half a unit on dog and then half a unit on pick him because it dropped. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't burn me. I've got a few plays on pickup lines here, which I usually don't do. I don't usually have good reads on pick 'em lines. But yeah, I got money on JP, and who knows, man? Maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit round 1. It's paying $6, so I think that's his best condition. What about you?
Nice. Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. Like, I don't know if I think JP's as big a flake as you. I just think the guy's chin is probably not all that, but it's so weird because he gets dropped like 4 times by Montel. And on a couple of them, he's very clearly hurt, but then on a couple of them, it's like he gets sat down, but he's fully lucid. So yeah, just really weird and hard to judge. I just don't think Durden's the guy who can really capitalize on his weaknesses. I think if they grapple, it favors buys. Durden maybe has like the better, pure wrestling pedigree, but I would say buys is the better overall MMA grappler. I think if Durden gets takedowns, I favor buys to win out on scrambles and, find back takes and stuff like that. And he's obviously way more of a submission threat. I don't think Durden can really stay safe on top too much. Durden, I would argue, has worse cardio. Buys isn't great, but in the 3rd round against Montel, he's taken an absolute shit kicking and he's still, trying to make stuff happen. I think Durden's cardio is worse. Striking, both pretty bloody average. I just think JP has way more finishing upside and probably has better cardio. Durden just always wrestles himself into the ground, gasses himself out, and can only really win via like control time against UFC level guys. So yeah, I just think JP's the easy side for me here as well. So I got a bit at pick him as well. I missed the dog money, but I would cap him probably like almost 60%. So not massive value. Obviously, both guys have like pretty big red flags. But I think like in the high 50s, getting up towards 60% is pretty fair for JP.
Yeah, I agree, man. Looks like we're on the same page. Let's move on. And yeah, I agree with the big thing I didn't mention, but I agree with you is Durden is not the kind of guy to drop JP 4 or 5 times, and he's not the kind of guy to break JP down the stretch because his cardio is some of the worst. Is also probably worse. I mean, JP looked better in round 3 against Montel, who's beating him up, than Durden looks in fights that he's dominating. He gasses out from winning. He just doesn't have the gas to last 1.5 rounds. So I agree with you on that. All right, another fight. Unfortunately, I didn't tape. I got 2 fights into Morozov, and then I had to set up Paiva versus Morozov. But I mean, I've taped every single guy a billion times. I just didn't refresh my memory today. You got anything here?
Yep, I like Morozov a lot here. I think he's like the clear side. I think he should be like minus 200. I got him at minus 120, now minus 145. I'm surprised that hasn't gone out past minus 150 yet. Paiva's all right, I just think Morozov is more skilled everywhere. Paiva's main attributes are being like durable, good cardio, and just kind of doesn't go away. Like he'll just hang around and keep trying to do stuff. I think Morozov, standing, way cleaner boxer. Paiva's super hittable. I think Morozov can get takedowns, establish dominant position when he wants. And I think this line is really a bit of a reaction to the Douglas De Silva de Andrade fight, which was just insane. And Morozov was like hossing him in the first round, and then, Andrade just did Andrade things and just hulked out on him and managed to finish him. Morozov maybe a little bit fragile from what we've seen on the tape, but I don't consider Paiva much of a hitter, and I don't think he really has business at bantamweight, honestly. So I expect Morozov just to really win this pretty clearly, unless Paiva's able to just randomly catch him with something. Morozov's got really good process, good boxing. His kicks are nice. He's got good wrestling, good top control. I just think he's the much better fighter, and I expect him to win like pretty clearly here, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought I would like him too. But like you said, I'm really surprised at some of these lines, man. This is probably one of the craziest cards in terms of lines being so similar to Monday. Like I was like, has everyone taken a break from taping like me at the start of the week? Because like it's usually like I start putting my bets in Tuesday and everything's just hammered, overnight. And Morozov's got the same odds. Maybe for you it's changed, but it's still $1.72. But yeah, I was surprised. I mean, all I know about Paiva, man, is hittable, plotting. I mean, look at his wins. The split decisions, the Morozov's teammate Zalgas. I mean,
what would this line be if he had lost the Kyler Phillips fight, or it had been a draw?
Which it should have been. It should have been a draw.
Yeah, like exactly.
If that's not a 10-8, but it could have been a 10-8 if he got his back and just sat there, and then the opponent used his toes in the cage, that would have been a 10-8. But all the getting dropped and wobbled and stuff, that doesn't usually consider a 10-8 according to the UFC judges. So yeah, I mean that should have been a draw, and I actually thought he had a shot against O'Malley based on that fight. I was like, O'Malley's just not going to be able to run away from him for 3 rounds, and he just sparked him. And it's like, nah, that just
too hittable, man.
Yeah, just flat-footed, and I do have some questions about Morozov. Like I was about to hit Andrade by sub because he's just so he's got so many losses by rear naked choke, and I see like on the regionals he always gives his back up even when he's winning, and he just did it again. But if Paiva's going to win, it's going to be like getting the shit kicked out of him, and then in round 3 as he keeps coming forward, Morozov just gives his back up, and Paiva has good jiu-jitsu or something. But I agree with you, man. I put a unit on while we've been talking just because I'm like, this line is going to move. I have a feeling it's going to move. I'm going to play it and then I'll tape it afterwards. But yeah, I know he's a well-rounded guy, striking and wrestling and everything. So he should be the side, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much rubbish considering I haven't refreshed my memory. But I think I have a feeling I'm going to be on the same side as you, man. All right, I taped this fight properly right before we went on. I went deep. I don't know why I punished myself with low-level fights and actually taped them deep instead of doing Morozov Paiva first. Yeah, at first I was like, man, I'm gonna lay the juice on Brown. Fuck it. What is he gonna? What's Shailan Nuerdanbieke gonna do? He's a one-dimensional wrestler. And then I started watching TJ Brown. That's the first time I watched the Rosa fight. I didn't wake up early for it when it was on live, and I was never gonna watch that
Oh,
crap.
dude.
And it's like, first takedown, yeah, all right. You know, everyone can take Rosa down. Then he gets reversed instantly. He gets rolled over from his back. That's my favorite sweep, by the way, in from Turtle. I love that sweep. Gets that, and I'm like, okay, Jesus, come on, mate. What are you doing? And then obviously he's doing much better in the striking. TJ Brown, I think he's got underrated striking. He switches stances. He does a good pull counter. He dropped Kai Kamaka with it. He kind of creates the chaos and just loves a brawl. And, you know, with his power and his aggression, he's going to get a lot of people. I hate his chin. I hate his flakiness. I hate how he just has no process. Like, as much as he tries, he has no process. But I think he can get takedowns on Xiaolan. That first round against Soriano, he took him down and then he got reversed. And Soriano stood up. I was like, man, you should have stayed on top of him because he looked awful. He looked like he didn't know what he was going to do off his back. So I went and watched his last two fights in the regionals. Not his last. His last one was Zhu Rong that knocked him out in the first round, which is a red flag. But two fights before that, some Russian dude got his back and almost choked him out in the first round. According to the topology, it's not even on his record, but he was on tape index. And then some Brazilian dude before that, like he reversed him and just stayed on top of him. Like, okay, so he does have a horrible bottom game, and TJ Brown's going to get takedowns on him, right? These random regional guys are taking him down. TJ's pretty high likely to go for takedowns. You know, things are not working on the feet. So, you know, he probably gets an arm triangle choke or something and finishes him off, or even just hurts him in the striking. And then seeing that Rosa fight getting reversed, and man, Rosa, anyone can hold Rosa down. And here he is, like in round 3, TJ just keeps diving with neck first into guillotines. He's a black belt. He's experienced enough to get out. And if Rosa didn't submit him, I doubt Shirley's going to submit him. But you don't want to see that, man, when he's gassed. And then Rosa takes him down, and then I go back to his contender. That guy took him down easily twice. And then round 3, Chavez was throwing him around like he was DC versus Dan Henderson, like trips him, slams him. Shalian's best takedown is the body lock slam from the back, like the suplex. Same thing with Chavez did to him. Kai Kamaka was taking him down with ease. He was just falling over. And I'm like, man, you're a good offensive wrestler, but you got no takedown.
That's his whole game, man. He's a glass cannon fighter. He's got decent offense, but he's got no defense in like any phase.
And I'm like, how did I not? Obviously, I don't fucking tape TJ Brown often in very deeply, but it's like, how did I not realize that he's so bad takedown defense? Obviously, I didn't pay attention. And then I'm like, nah, I can't hit this. I mean, how's Shailan gonna win? He doesn't stop going for takedowns. He's one-dimensional, but that's the one dimension he keeps going for. You know, even round 3 against, it's how he won against Soriano, and round 3 against Kulibao. You know, stuffed a million times, and he just won't stop going for him. He can't strike. That's the only way to win. And in round 3, I can see a scramble fest. I mean, the only thing Shalian can do off his back is he just stays on the bottom for ages and then just does like a explosive roll. And he hits Soriano, hit him with it, and he hits Soriano with it. And TJ Brown been hit with that move like on contender. Charles Rose hit him with
Charles Rose, man. That's all you need to know.
And it's like this is going to be a scramble fest, man. This is going to be a scramble fest. They're going to be reversing each other. TJ Brown might rock him, you know, might look for some subs because Shalian's good at getting to the back. And it's like, yeah, nah. Now I'm fucking considering the dog. I was going to hammer TJ at juice, and now I'm like, fuck, is he going to... It probably should be a pass because TJ has the striking advantage, the power advantage. You know, every time he was on the back, he's actually a really good scrambler, man. Like, every time he was on the bottom of Kamaka, he was hunting for legs. He was getting the omoplata sweep. He got on top. He stood up. But he's just that chaos. He wants that chaos. He always wants scrambling. He always wants to brawl.
He's messy, man.
Yeah, he doesn't... He can easily have a 3-round striking 30-27 against Shalian, but I don't think he's going to do it because he just can't. As soon as Shalian goes for one takedown and slams him, he's just going to become a crazy scramble fest, and they're both going to be ending up on top, and probably just a pass, man. I taped it deep. I fucking went into Charlian's regionals to see how he's at the bottom and stuff, and TJ Brown. I've been hearing how he looked good against Rosa. Fuck, I taped it. I didn't think he looked good at all, man. That's the same old TJ Brown like every other time.
Man, I had a bunch of TJ Brown by decision there, and I was sweating.
I thought about it and I passed. I'm glad I did, man. I mean, when I saw the results, I was like, damn, I knew I should have hit it. But then watching that back, I'm like, fuck, no, that was a good pass.
who gets taken down and then also reversed multiple times by Charles Rosa? That's that on short notice as well. Charles Rosa was on super short notice. That's shocking.
It's super concerning, man. Super concerning. You got nothing on here, I assume?
No, I've got a small bet on Shailan plus 180. Like you said, I obviously don't love Shailan, but TJ Brown's the kind of guy I'll fade in most spots if he's like minus 200 sort of thing. He's just a mess. He's got a striking advantage, but if Shailan forces grappling, TJ Brown's going to entertain it. They're inevitably going to grapple. They're going to scramble. He's just a big, strong, bricked up dude. Knows how to get to good control positions. TJ Brown's loose on top, getting reversed by Charles Rosa says it all. He's loose on top, so I think Shailan can scramble from bottom, and I just think it's going to be close. I'm not massively convicted like Shailan should be a favorite or anything like that, but I just think it smells like a split decision to me. So small bet on the plus 180. I'm happy to take it.
Yeah. Him. If I was going to hit, I would hit him by decision. Small.
Yeah, that's also good. I see Bet Online. It's got plus 325, and Bet Online's props are generally not great, so you can probably find plus 400s out there or something like that, which would be pretty solid, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't have a finishing bone in his body. He's just wings.
Yeah. And the only concern is Brown is so finishable.
He's chinny, but he's got good recovery. I mean, he gets dropped every single fight, but he's just,
You watched the Durden Griffin fight?
Yeah, I did. I had Griffin there. That's back in my casual betting stages when I chose to chase with Jordan Griffin. I was down that card, and I was like, holy shit, I won that bet, but I'm never chasing ever again. And not with someone like fucking Jordan Griffin, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I would say split it between moneyline and decision if you're backing Shailan, just because TJ Brown is the kind of guy who finds ways to get finished.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Tafon versus Ulberg. Another one of my plays at Pick'em. Again, if you know me, I always avoid these. I should have avoided Court McGee last week. I just ended up leaving a bit because I had slight dog money. This gives me the same vibes. Carlos is a bit flaky to me. I know I use that a lot. And that Sharon fight just kind of confirmed it to me. He was just never got out of the first gear. He was getting tagged up in the first round. And then when he stopped throwing, then Carlos kind of could just cruise, but he was getting hit. He just has no head movement whatsoever. Cardio is a bit concerning, hence it's obviously why he fought like that. He got some takedowns, maybe, it's making some improvements. Fabio Sharon, I don't know what I said before, but I meant to say Fabio Sharon. But that guy, I thought about playing that guy as a dog, and then I watched his tape and he just falls apart. Ulberg just got a cakewalk, and he just still made it a bit of a meal and made it a horrendous fight. He's got a good check hook. I thought he was going to crack him with it, same way as William Knight, with Sharon coming in, but he just didn't counter. Every time Sharon blitzed in, he just got hit with the 1-2 and just taunted and stuff. So come on, bring it on.
Yeah, he's not much of a counter fighter as Carlos. He needs to lead and be on, he needs to be the one leading. He's not much of a counter fighter. If a guy throws on him, he's just going to back up, reset.
Yeah, but I mean, he's hit that counter hook before, check hook, and he knocked out Oliveira on Contender Series on the back foot. He was going back, was getting backed up against the cage, and then he landed the check hook and put him out. But obviously, Tafon is going to pressure him as well. I think Tafon is a bit of a punching bag, but he's very durable. He's got a high guard. He's just going to be. I know people say he's got good cardio. He's always breathing heavy, but he's kind of got a steady pace. He's always plodding forward, always throwing jabs, throwing the 1-2 body kick. Doing the ha-has, which probably help with his breathing and whatnot. I just see it being like the slow Mike Rodriguez fight where everyone's like, oh, I want to bet Tafon at pick him, but Rodriguez is so much bigger and so much faster and so much more athletic. It didn't mean shit. I don't think he landed one good thing on Tafon because he was constantly getting pressured up and clinched up. And same as Ulberg, yeah, you know, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a sweat early. If you're going to pressure Ulberg, he might get forced to throw down, and he can crack people. I mean, just because he didn't knock out Kennedy, you can still see that the guy can crack. So it's like, you know, Tafon just got knocked out for the first time by that knee. But even then, man, I think someone like Azamar, that left hand can put out anyone, and he just kept landing those overhands on Tafon's chin over and over for 3 rounds, and nothing could hurt the guy. And then what ended up putting him out is he landed it in round 3, hurt him, and then he landed it right, backed him up again, and then the ducked into a clean knee on the chin, which put him out. Even again, the guy wasn't out. He was like slowly starting to get up like a zombie. And it's like, you know, I guess Carlos can, you know, he's got a really good front kick. Tafon's got a high guard. He can front kick him, you know, be a bit of a punching bag. But if this gets out of round 1, I just think, considering how hittable Ulberg is, and with the 1-2s and everything the Tafon throws is just jabs and 1-2s, and he'll just keep coming forward. And as soon as they clinch up, we're gonna see Ulberg's cardio tested again. And yeah, he just hasn't proven himself to me, man. He got that cakewalk and he just didn't do it. Maybe like a lot of the time when these guys get that win and they fight really safe, like he did against Charant, you know, they come out to be better because they got their confidence again. You know, they just needed that win. He might be a bit better. That's why I don't want to completely underestimate him. But I got Tafon at dog money, and now it's flipped. Now Ulberg is dog money. So let's hope I don't get fucked up on these pick'em fights, man. Because JP, Tafon, they're all they can all get around 1 KO or something, and it's gonna all look like McGee last week, or Dorcas even. But yeah, I just think this is like you know, maybe I just leave half a unit and then I'll add more as the fight progresses. But I just think this is a very durable guy, consistent to come forward, consistent volume against the guy that's not gonna like the pressure and he's not gonna like the power from Tafon. Just kind of like a straightforward pick for me, man. I taped it and I just liked everything I saw. What do you reckon?
Yeah, man, I agree with most of what you said. The line movement was pretty sharp. I think I missed Tafon at dog money. I was kind of waiting to see what was happening with the line movement, and I missed it. I played the over though instead, just because I think I could see Tafon having a bit of trouble early, if you know, with Carlos's movement and speed. But that being said, like you said, I do think, like down the back half of the fight, he does probably start to break him down with forward pressure, mixing in the clinch strikes. You know, I think Tafon's got some of the best like clinch work out of the bigger guys in the UFC. And yeah, he will just constantly push forward, you know, and he will throw whether he's landing or not. And that's one thing about like the city kickboxing guys. Done a lot of tape on city kickboxing because guys from my gym have fight a lot of city kickboxing guys, obviously being in the same city. You know, and one way you can really sort of mess them up is just by constantly pushing them out of their stance and not respecting their feints and not giving them the fight at their preferred range. And I think those are all things that Tafon can do pretty well. You know, he's just going to constantly crash forward, punch his way into the clinch, strike there, strike out of the clinch, and then when Carlos is looking to reset, Tafon's going to go again. So yeah, I do like Tafon to win this one, but I'm just going to wait to live bet because I'm hoping I can maybe get him at plus money again live. Just because the speed early might be a bit hard to deal with, and Carlos might tag him up a bit early, maybe hurt him. So I'll look to get him live. But otherwise, yeah, I agree with what you said, and I think Tafon at plus money is a good bet. Yeah,
I agree. Same sentiment. All right, I got about 25%, man. So I'll try to keep my main card predictions a bit shorter, just so we don't get cut out halfway through.
Yep.
Main card, Curtis, Viera. Honestly, I take this quickly because I'm like, I better get on Curtis before his odds drop even more. After that, I wasn't confident. I mean, I had to go really back to see him use his takedown defense, and Umar and PFL pretty much backpacked him for almost 5 rounds because the second fight was only 2 rounds, so 3 rounds in the first. Then Cooper backpacked him easily in the first. It just gives his back so much, man. All Curtis does is gives his back up. obviously haven't seen much since then, other than Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen got on his back, but that means absolutely nothing. And Brendan Allen fell off. But when me and you were discussing playing Malkoon, one of the things was Brendan Allen can't hold on to the back. He just falls off and loses the round. So it's just, I can't hit Curtis at these odds, but I played Viera at $2.30 just because I could see the lines would narrow because everyone was just on Viera, and overnight the odds just got steamed. I couldn't believe so much money came in on him. I mean, I understand that, he gives his back, but I'm not entirely sure that he submits Curtis. And then if Curtis gets up, it's all downhill for Viera, in my opinion. I mean, it's just a horrible style matchup, just pressure and boxing and body shots. And, just keep getting up and just keep pressuring him until Viera falls apart. We're all going to hit Viera, Termit against Viera, those insane odds, just because how flaky he is, And I think he's still that flaky guy. I need to see some more from him. Yeah, he looked a bit better against Stolfitz. But, man, still, he had a flying knee at the end of round 1. And he was getting pieced up in round 2. And judges had a 1-1 going into the 3rd. And he got that opportunistic back take. And that's Stolfitz, man. He's one of the worst guys in the UFC, and he's been cut now. And he had to fight within himself, not to use too much cardio to exert himself. And he also had Stolfitz's back too, and he fell off. So that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, you get Curtis's back, but it's just crazy how everyone's like, yeah, round 1 sub or Curtis KO. It's like, what if he doesn't get that round 1 sub? I don't think it's. He also had Fluffy's back, and he was in mount straight away, and also Oscar Pihota as well. Took him till 2 rounds. So I don't know, man. I can get double chance here on Chris Curtis, $2.10 KO or decision, which is insane. But I do not want to have. This is definitely a live bet for me. I actually see Chris Curtis. If Viera fights like the old self, he will get an easy takedown. He will get easy mount. He will get easy back control. If he chooses to box like he did against Stolfitz, I think it's better for him because the way he fights is just a 1-2 and jabs, and he doesn't exert like Brendan Allen or that idiot Hawes in the pocket. He's not going to fall for something stupid like that. But, yeah, live bet for me. See how Viera goes. If Curtis survives the back tech, the onslaught early, see how gassed Viera is, and then look to hit Curtis. And I might even have $50 on Curtis, round 3 KO. I've been trying to time that. Man, on the regionals, Curtis gets held up against the cage a lot, and he's struggling to finish these bums. And now everyone thinks he's just some fucking round 1 machine. But, nah, that's just... It usually takes him 3 rounds to put people out. So I'll live bet it and maybe round 3 sprinkle. What about you?
Yep, agree with most of that, man. Just hard fight to read just because of the way Rodolfo's kind of switched his approach lately. If he went in there like he used to and just was going to try Hoss him round 1, I think there's a pretty good chance he subs him early on. But you don't know. He might just come out, happy to work behind the jab and not really looking to grapple super proactively, and if that happens, like Rodolfo's not forcing action, I don't think Curtis is going to be in a hurry to really force action that's going to create like easy takedown opportunities for him. So yeah, I'm looking to live bet Curtis. I think Rodolfo kind of has to go hard in round 1 for the finish, because if he lets it become like a lower tempo striking match, I'm not sure that's going to be great for him. Like you said, it took him until round 3 to get Stoltzfus out of there. And like Curtis, if you give him time to work, he's going to start hitting the body and all that stuff, which I imagine Rodolfo is not going to enjoy. The guy hasn't really fought a decent striker yet, so he's been matched pretty favorably. So I think that'll give him issues. Yeah, just waiting to live bet Curtis is the clear spot. But like you said, issues around his takedown defense and PFL and regionals, gives his back a lot. Although his submission defense and stuff is all right. Rodolfo's not a great back finisher, but he's still a high-level black belt. If he gets the back, it's going to be problems. Like, Rodolfo's mainly an arm triangle guy, no gi. But, yeah, hard to read because so much depends on how Rodolfo fights. But, yeah, look to live bet Curtis.
Yep, easy peasy. On the same page. I haven't taped this Maness Umar fight. I mean, the odds are horrendous. All the props are horrendous in terms of value.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Umar's fight against Morozov, obviously, because I was taping Morozov. Yeah, just a really good back taker. I think Maness has amazing takedown defense, man. Gravely's struggled with it. He's got amazing power. First guy to crack Gravely as well. He's got a pretty good chin. And, like, I don't know. I think Umar might have some struggles. I've seen him struggle a bit against Morozov. Like, Fell off the back, got sprawled a bit, got out scrambled. But Morozov was really good. So yeah, I mean, what am I going to hit here? Submission's nowhere near as good as it was against Kelleher. I think he doesn't have to get the takedowns of Maness. He can just duck and get to his back. He's really good at getting to the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, pass 5 for me, man. I don't want to talk too much about it.
Yep, pretty much on the same page. I do think Umar gets the sub, but there's not enough value. Like you said, Maness has got good hips, and they gave Gravely some issues, and he's big and tall for the division, so it's hard to get him up off his feet. But like you said, Umar, if he gets down to the legs, he doesn't need to like finish you on the double and run you over. He'll just come around to the back, and he's very, very good at putting hooks in. Like, the dude is super sticky on the back. And then just going back and watching Maness versus Johnny Munoz and like how Maness looked on bottom there, I just don't think he can really survive for very long underneath Umar. So I do think he gets the sub. Umar's sub, or the under 1.5 would be what I would play if anything, but the numbers aren't good enough. You know, I hate playing a submission prop at even money in it, and I hate under 1.5 if it's, you know, if one guy is not, if it's not a mismatch kind of thing. So yeah, exactly. I think Umar rolls, but probably get a good bounce back spot on Maness maybe in his next fight.
Yeah, I would love to hit him, man. He's very underrated, but just obviously wait for someone else. not this fight. All right, this is a weird fight, man. I think this is definitely wide.
Yep.
But I'm not rushing to the window to bet it. It's like I can't get a read. I taped it deep because I was like, I don't know. Moises is so weird to get a read on it, inconsistent. There's something about him. Fights differently every single fight. He's like a jiu-jitsu guy. Sometimes he strikes. Sometimes, you know, he's losing the feet and doesn't shoot a takedown. Drops down for fucking not even heel hooks, but ankle locks. He's just a weird dude, man. Fuck, you're a black belt. Why are you going for straight ankle locks? Who have you ever tapped in a competition with a straight ankle
Michael
lock?
Johnson.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Other than that, yeah. So, man, Giagos is getting a bit disrespected here. Honestly, I reckon if Giagos didn't have horrendous cardio, he would be a better fighter than Moises, honestly. Like, you look at Giagos' record, man, he's beating the shit out of Drakkar Close for almost 2 full rounds, and literally Close stole round 2 with by stuffing a takedown and ground and pounding him on the bottom with a minute to go. And then round 3, Giagos got like his cardio back, and it was sticking and moving, and he was doing good again in round 3 with like almost 3 minutes went while being completely gassed. And then he got picked up and slammed, and, you know, oh yeah, all the judges are like, yeah, that's the round for, you know, Close. But man, someone like Close, I reckon Close could do some damage to Moises as well. Moises hates pressure, hates getting backed up. I don't think his wrestling will do much against Close. And like, the same people that are smashing Giagos would be the same people that are smashing Moises. I know Moises kind of has more technical striking, but I like Giagos as striking, man. I know it looked like shit against Tsarukyan, but I like his like looping hooks, and it's good for MMA, right? He's just in and out. The performance against Hadzovic was amazing. Everyone thought he was going to wrestle him, but he was like rocking him with the uppercuts. You know, he ducks, feints, and throws the uppercut as Hadzovic ducks his head into it, and then left, right, and takes him down. He's got a good in and out. Yeah, go on.
So yeah, I was just going to say I agree. Yeah, he's a bit herky jerky, you know, and then combining when he's like level changing with his striking along with the threat of the takedowns, it gets guys a bit out of sorts, you know. Yeah,
he's explosive, man, and it's not clean boxing, but fuck, it's MMA, bro. Like clean kickboxing, clean boxing doesn't work in MMA all the time. You see it, you know, you gotta blend it all together, and that's my main note here. Giagos blends it in way better. Like, he will strike, then he will take you down. And Moises, I don't want to talk. I could talk for ages on this fight, but Moises he only shoots takedowns when the striking's not working and he's getting backed up, and then he just forces that. Like, he kept forcing takedowns against Makhachev. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Makhachev's the better grappler, and he just because he couldn't strike, and he's like, oh shit, I better grapple here, and he just kept getting reversed. He actually did take Makhachev down, which was impressive. He's got a really good and Bobby Green as well. He's got a good takedown against the cage when he locks his hands, like picks him up and slams him. But everything in the center of the octagon is like, his shot's horrendous. It's pretty average. He just falls down for legs instead when he finds any resistance. Giagos stuffed Tsarukyan's first takedown, ended up on top. How many people have we seen do that to Tsarukyan? Yeah. I think in the first round, Giagos is going to give him a shit ton of trouble, man. He's going to be more, at his best, athletic, striking, mixing it up. You know, I don't think either are going to get any grappling going. I think it's just going to be maybe he couldn't get any grappling going on Drakkar close, but he did get his back, almost submitted him. I think he's just going to be more like cage stalling, and gets into round 2. He might do better with his striking. Then as he starts to get gassed, maybe Moises takes over. But Moises doesn't even push the pace that much, man. He doesn't even push the pace. The only person he outstruck for 3 rounds was Alexander Hernandez, who's just like a front runner, and he just said, "Fuck this! I'm not letting Hernandez push me back." And he planted and would counter every single time. That's kind of my worry. If he counters, if he plants and counters Giagos has been countered and dropped by Soriano and by Tsarukyan in his last 2 fights because he's so loopy and wide and the chin's there while he's throwing. It's just, is Moises going to do that? Like, can you trust him not to back up and shell up, or is this going to be the fight that he stands his ground? It's just untrustworthy, man, and it's just a weird fight. Like, who do I trust here? Probably no one, but yeah, you could even play. I reckon if you got balls, we'll see how I feel on Sunday. I could play Giagos and then just hedge out, because there's no way Moises is gonna cover the $1.40 favorite line after round 1, unless he miraculously gets a round 1 finish. I mean, I'll be fucking shocked if he's the person to do that to Giagos. I think they're just on the same level. These guys are on the same level. Just because Moises was ranked 15 for like 1 second, so Makhachev could get a ranked win over someone. I think they're on the same level, these guys.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on Giagos small plus 210. I think, that's crazy wide unless he starts gassing, but Moises doesn't push a pace, so you should have runway to get out of it live if you need to. I'd expect this line to be a lot tighter after round 1. Moises, can't hit takedowns in open space, can be taken down himself, does accept bottom at times as well, and like play jiu-jitsu, being a jiu-jitsu guy. And has that horrible habit of like backing himself onto the cage, and I think that is really bad in this matchup, because if you let Giagos back you up, then he's going to start bombing on you against the cage and look to shoot. So my main concern is really Giagos just gassing himself out. But Moises just is really pace averse and kind of likes a slow fight, so I don't think that's as big of a concern here. So I think the line's super wide, and then I've got a bit of the over at minus 115 as well. I'm not sure either guy can really submit each other unless Giagos gets like completely gassed. But even when he does get super gassed, he's still not like easy to put away, like we saw in the Drakkar fight. And Moises just never really puts his foot down and goes for the finish. So I think both of those are pretty off, to be honest. I'd say this goes a distance at least more like 60% of the time. And I think the money line should be Moises no more than minus 150, honestly.
Yeah, at best. All right, I've got 11%, my man. So we're gonna smash these 3 out. I mean, this one should be easy. Alan Badou. I got a unit on Badou. I pick him. It's come in a little bit. I just think Perisian's the worst guy in the UFC, not Badou. His contender series fight horrendous. Like, I was tagging him up, getting pieced up by Rocky Martinez. Oh my god. Like, you can say he doesn't have an athleticism edge against a lot of these fighters. He didn't have an athleticism edge over Rocky Martinez or the size, and he's getting bloodied up, man. Badou, really good jab, really good power. He hurt Nascimento twice. He made Aspinall shoot for a takedown. He was jabbing up Parker Porter. Has a really good sprawl. I just think that the athleticism advantage here is massive. He might even get a knockout in round 1, man. Parisian's so hittable. Parisian's versus the bottom of the bottom guys, and he should be 0-3. And even his contender series fight was just the worst guy, Chad Johnson, man. He made Koresh look like an absolute beast in PFL. So that's me, man. Like, as the days are going on, I'm getting more and more pussy, because I can just see Badou falling apart. Like, literally how Parisian wins on the regionals. He's losing, he's getting taken down, and then his opponent falls over and he just ground and pounds him on top. I can see Badou doing that. I can honestly see Badou doing that. So as the week goes on, I'm like, I don't need fucking money on this bullshit fight, just so I'm right. So I might be disciplined, but yeah, it's honestly, I think we see a potential massacre in the first round. Badou, I think Parisian's just horrendous, man. So many holes. But he doesn't have any quit in him. So whereas Badou might. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree, man. Parisian is fucking terrible. His only assets are being obese and tough. he probably should have lost to Roque. I remember being like, this guy just needs one takedown and he should be able to finish the fight. Against the cage, he has no like awareness of what underhooks are or no understanding of position. You can tell he's just used to using his size to get guys down. He doesn't actually have coherent ideas about technique. Badou, like you said, faster, better striker, should tag him up. But again, Badou's shown to be like super flaky on his regional tape, melts on bottom. So yeah, main concern is Perisian just runs into him and bowls him over because he's fucking massive, and Badou ends up on the bottom and gets finished somehow. But barring that, if it doesn't happen, then I think Badou probably really lights him up on the feet, you know. So, and Perisian, I would say, has worse cardio. The dude's got less than a round of cardio just because he's so fat.
Yeah, he doesn't stop pushing though. That's the problem. I'm scared because Badou will stop throwing. But yeah, we'll see how the week goes.
He looked way more resilient against Parker Porter, so I'm kind of hoping that was he's taken a step and it wasn't just an outlier and he goes back to being a flake here.
Yeah. All right, I got 8%, my man. Last two fights. Shavkat, I mean, Neil Magny, sorry. How much value is on this fight? I think Magny's been fucking squeaking by the skin of his teeth. Getting hurt by Neil and getting paced up in the first round. And this is Jeff Neal past near-death experience. I've been vocal that this is not the same guy. And then getting hurt by Max Griffin, Jesus Christ, barely getting a split decision. Getting dominated by Chiesa. I cashed that as a big dog for second card of the year last year. He's just got so many holes, but then he's got so many things that the judges look for, like the output and the cardio, and he just weasels fights out. Hey, if he's going to win this, it's going to be by weaseling, because Rakhmonov is so patient and he's upright and chin up and he eats shots and he gets cracked. If he's just standing there waiting for the big shot against Magny and then he gets clinched up instead of throwing that shot, I could see Magny doing it, but most likely, man, if Magny gets hit like he's been hit against Max or Jeff Neal, or he even got hurt against Rocco Martin. And I don't know how the fuck Martin lost that fight. Every time I tape it, Martin won that fight. Hurt him in the second, took him down. Martin won that fight. It wasn't even a split decision. That's the spell that Magny has on the judges. I just feel like if Shavkat does that, he's got 3 rounds to bomb him, man. I've seen this guy get hurt and wobbled, almost finished, and then he comes back and finishes the guy in round 3. This guy wants to finish. I think Magny's finally found someone that's gonna land a fucking bomb, and his ground and pound is fucking elite, man. That's the best ground and pound I've seen in the UFC for that weight class. So I don't want to talk too much on it. I've got a unit on Shavkat. I mean, it's almost a pick him for finish. If he's going to win, it's going to be a finish. Fuck it. If I lose the money, I lose the money. I'm just kind of forcing it. But we've seen Magny finished and hurt plenty of times, so it's not impossible for me. Even though it is a step up. What do you got? I got 5%, by the way.
Yep. No, I agree with most of that. No interest in betting the fight. I'm not still 100% sold on Shavkat because a lot of his fights he's kind of been like losing or not much is happening and then he just kills the guy randomly. So I'm not still 100% sold on the guy. Magny's a hard fight for anyone if you can't like kill him and put him away, although he did look really shit against Griffin, especially in the first round. So yeah, no betting interest. I'll wait, see if Neil survives round 1. And if Shavkat's, entertaining the clinch in that, I'll look at having a bit of a poke on Magny live or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy play, man. We can just, no rush. We can just see exactly how it's going to play out. Main event, man. Best fucking fight of the card. I'm really excited about this. I taped this first, just kind of like the Emmett Qatar fight before the week started. And honestly, I'm a bit disappointed. I can't get a read. Gamrot has fuck all takedown defense tape. I watched his 3 fights against Norman Park. He struggled to take Norman Park down in the first for 3 rounds. He just kept ending up in the sprawl position. Maybe that's improving because you see him now, whenever he gets sprawled on, he arm drags and shucks him off and goes to the back. He's a really good scrambler now. Round 2, second fight, he had that like disqualification or that no contest. And then round 3, Gamrot said, fuck this grappling shit. And he just pieced up Park from southpaw stance, which is not even his preferable stance, for 3 rounds and got a doctor stoppage, right? And then we've also seen him 1-2 in the UFC. What was his name? A really old hockey player. Yeah, he just 1-2 with like 1-punch KO. So he's who was the other guy? The guy with the guy that's got the really good sweep, the French dude. You know his name?
Mansour Banoui.
There you go. You fucking know the first and the last name. Yeah, he fought him, and that guy was probably the best grappler Gamrot's fought. He swept like Makachev on the regionals, and he just couldn't get anything off on Gamrot. He was very aggressive. That was the most aggressive grappling fight, and Gamrot's like, nah. Whenever he almost hits something, Gamrot gets on top. So he's a bit more noodly. He's a bit more. His control sucks. He couldn't control Guram, but Guram's hard to control. He can't control Holtzman. He can't control anyone. He couldn't control Ferreira. But these are the guys that are hard to control generally. Whereas Arman is like that typical Russian style. You know, he had some troubles with OAM, but he just still fucking controlled him against the cage. You know, he couldn't get him down, but he's not going to give you, you know,
Ooh. Don't know what's going on with Steve. Sorry, everyone. I guess I'll give my thoughts since Steve looks to be having some technical issues. So main event, like Steve said, easily the best fight on the card. Great fight, Gamrot and Tsarukyan. I agree with what Steve said in terms of this being really hard to get a read on. Tape is a bit like unreliable or like sporadic, I find, for this one. Although now Arman, I'm just seeing, is being bet up to minus 287 on Bet Online, so it's a clear Dalgo pass spot. Both guys, we'll start with the striking. Pretty similar in some regards, that they're both quite like in and out guys. They look to get into the pocket and do their work and get out ASAP. They're both kind of quite blitzy, lunging in, trying to get in and out, pot shot mainly. I do think Arman is the better combination striker. He throws like 1-2s into his left high kick pretty nicely. Gamrot, not so much of a combination guy, kind of looks to leap in with like single shots or two at a time and then get back out. But Gamrot has the advantage of being able to fight from both stances. And that also kind of helps him with his wrestling because he can kind of shoot from either stance, which can be hard to read. His wrestling is super weird and like janky. You don't see many guys shooting low singles and like diving on the ankles. But like Steve said, his control is not good, right? He really struggles to control anyone. And I don't see him getting much going on Arman at all. He might be able to hit the entry, you know, take him by surprise because his shots are pretty unorthodox. But yeah, I don't see him holding Arman down really at all. Arman, on the other hand, really good wrestler himself. I think if anyone is going to get control time, it's probably going to be him. He's good at getting to the rear body lock and controlling from those positions. We've seen he's really like made strides in his ground and pound. He's got nasty ground and pound if he gets on top, especially out the guard. He doesn't need to pass your guard. He's happy to sit in the closed guard or the half guard and work from there. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to stay in Gamrot's guard and sort of get a lot of work off there because Gamrot's a pretty well-skilled grappler and I expect him, especially early, you know, I expect neither guy to really get much control time early. I think if it comes, it's going to be later once they've slowed down a bit. But yeah, I think they're pretty well matched. The lines definitely seems a bit wide to me, but I would line Arman the favorite just because I think his striking is a bit more judge friendly because he throws in combination, and I also think he's probably going to be the one pushing forward for most of the fight. I think he's going to be advancing, looking to strike and set up his takedowns. Gamrot will be skirting around the edge of the cage, looking to pot shot, and then sort of time Arman's advances and get underneath and look for those weird low ankle shots and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think my hand's probably going to be a bit forced on like a Gamrot value play, just because he can grapple, he's janky. Arman's striking defense still isn't the best. It's definitely improved. We saw him looking pretty hittable against Frivola and OAM, but I think what I saw in the Alvarez and Giagos fights was pretty encouraging. I think he's getting better, but Gamrot's super weird and janky, so I think he might still have some success landing on him. But Arman's just an insane athlete. Dude's absolutely bricked, probably on the source, so I'd imagine his chin's pretty solid. So to be honest, the spot I'd like most betting wise for this fight in terms of like level of confidence is like the over, or fight starts around 5 is just about the same price, to be honest. So I think that's probably the best option. If I'm forced to pick a winner, I do think it's Arman behind just, better combination striking, being able to go forward, and he is probably going to be the one getting control time if they grapple. Gamrot's winning just kind of feels like he needs Arman to gas, or maybe he needs knockdowns. I'm just not sure how he consistently strings minutes together, especially across 5 rounds. He could probably weasel 2 rounds at a higher clip in a 3-round fight. But across 5 rounds, unless Arman's gas tank turns out to be no good, which I don't think there's, I don't think there's too much risk of that personally. But yeah, I would say Arman minus 200 is about fair, 65% or just above. But yeah, I do think there's a bit of value on Gamrot here, money line by decision. But yeah, I like overs and goes the distance here as well, because I think both guys are savvy enough grapplers that neither is going to be able to get enough dominant position to finish the others. Standing knockout could happen because they're both so blitzy in and out, but neither of them are like huge hitters. Both seem to have good chins. Both seem to have good cardio. So yeah, just hoping for a real good fight. And I guess that'll about do it. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and Steve has me back on. I'll see you guys again next time. Catch ya.
All right. I can finally end this. Sorry about that, guys. My laptop crapped itself. So, hopefully next week, no problems. I was going to fix the laptop, see what's wrong with it. But yeah, thanks for everyone tuning in. And sorry about that hiccup. Till next time.